we're in an age today, and then we're going to finally get into the book that he's really here to talk about. But we're in an age today where there's a lot of concern that our kids are growing up being coddled too much. And they get off to college and they don't know how to stand for themselves. They don't know how to do anything. And there's worry, I think, that we've gone so far away from, well, it died and we're tough and that's how it is, that now kids are defenseless in that they've had too much empathy and too much emotional connection with their parents, maybe because the parents didn't have that or whatever. Where are we really at in all that?
Well, you'll notice that Diana Baumrind calls the secret sauce authoritative parenting. I only talked about one aspect of this.
Right.
Most parents who are creating the secret sauce have several gadgets. In fact, you can label 5 separate gadgets. One of them is a strong sense of empathy. And another is that they take emotions seriously as almost being automatic. They're neither good emotions and they're not bad emotions. Emotions are what they are, and you deal with them. But the third characteristic is fascinating. Kids that are going to grow up in a household that has the secret sauce have rules set upon them, and the rules are made out of titanium. Those parents that are actively practicing the secret sauce rules of emotion coaching and Diana Baumrind's authoritative parenting grow up in households where the rules are clear, unambiguous, consistently rewarded, or if there's an infraction, consistently punished. In fact, the rules are so blatant that many of the parents who are practicing this actually put them up on a wall so that their kids can see them, whether if there's chores to be done and the infractions for it or the rewards that come from it. So powerful is this that if you've ever watched Nanny 911, they almost always default to it. But it's defaulting to Diana Baumrind's authoritative parenting style, where they actually put some frickin' list on the wall and then have their... But you know what she's trying to do is not train the kids. She's trying to train the parents. Authoritative parenting has a strong sense of the rules are the rules. In fact, there's almost a sense of humor in some of the families that practice this. I'll give you an example. As a dad, 3 boys, terrific authoritative emotion coacher, one of the best parents I think I've ever seen. The rules were so powerful in their household that they were going to change the bedtime from 9:30 to 10:30 because the kids were older and you could do that. This is how he did it. They have family meetings. And by the way, many authoritative households, emotion coaching households, actually have family meetings.
That's interesting.
This is what he did. He takes an old antique clock that he found in a junkyard and he goes, gentlemen, winds it to 9:30, old bedtime. Gentlemen, and then he winds it to 10:30. New bedtime. Bon appetit. And they're all laughing and carrying on, and they fully got it. He just pinned that clock on the wall for a period of time so that they knew the very next night when they thought they needed to get ready to brush their teeth and whatnot, he could point at them and say, guys, you know, there's a new rule here now. You can go ahead and relax. How clear is that rule? It's completely unambiguous. It's marinated in so much love and fun, and you can actually see it's building on this relationship that's there. That is the hallmark of a classic authoritative emotion coaching parent. So you see, it's not just the emotional connection. There is a strong emotional connection, for sure. So connecting that the kids actually feel safe, and maybe even a little quirky, because I'll call that dad style. But what he was owning to was the fact that I got rules in this household, and I believe so much of them, I'm going to have a family meeting, and I'm even going to buy some stupid clock so that you know how seriously I take this.
Interesting. All right, so the new book, Brain Rules for Baby. We've just been on everything but this so far. Now you wrote this.
We'll actually talk about those 4 styles.
I'm sure you do.
In there.
So now you wrote this book because you've spoken to parent groups a few times and you think you're talking about, you know, biology and molecular level stuff. And then they're like, how do I get my kid into Harvard? And these are the questions. So this is the book to answer those questions. What are the things that parents ask most about that you're trying to answer here?
Well, one of the biggest questions that I'm asked I would start out talking about differential gene expression in the developing rhombencephalon and watch my audiences sail away. Did you just sail away, Matt?
I did. Hello?
I just sailed away.
I'm sorry.
So the most common one is Harvard. So let's talk about it. They actually don't mean Harvard. They mean intellectually rigorous environments. And they have it's a kind question, believe it or not, unless it's a merit badge. There are parents that treat their kids like merit badges. But the vast majority, I find, they know it's a knowledge-based economy now, so you're going to have to get your kid into college and so on. All righty. Well, I tell them, all right, but when the kid is 3 or 4 years old, there's a couple of things we know about from the research literature that you should do, and let's get a big one out here. First one is you do not tell them that they're smart, even if they are. Don't ever tell them that they're smart. Here is the great work of Carol Dweck from Stanford. She asked this question. You know, kids get into Harvard. Some of them thrive, do really well, but there's a fair percentage, Matt, that are crushed by the experience. They leave after the first semester and they don't do very well. And you can just take that as a metaphor. That happens in high school and junior high. And Carol's asking, if you control for IQ, they're all got the same horsepower. How come some are crushed and some aren't? She found an answer. Here's the answer. It's how they're parented, how these kids are parented, how the parents react to the intellectual success and failure of their children. Should I unpack that, maybe?
Yes.
Here it is. There is a interaction that is toxic. She calls it fixed mindset behavior, and you shouldn't do it. I'll give you an example of FMS, fixed mindset behavior. Little Johnny comes in's got an A. So you say to him, little Johnny, you got an A. I'm so proud of you. You're so smart. Now, that seems like a loving, kind thing to do. And Carol says, no, it's not, especially if you want to get him into Harvard. Statistically, what she was able to show is that through the arc of a 15, 20-year parenting experience underneath the FMS household, fixed mindset household, the kid begins to equate GPA and intellectual success with some amorphous, ephemeral, I was born with it, intelligence. In the lab, we don't know what intelligence is. A little kid isn't going to know.
Right.
So what happens when they get an A is they're smart. You know what happens when they get a C? They say, oh, I got an A because I was so smart. I'm getting a C because I'm so stupid. And they begin to equate this intellectual horsepower and so on with something they can't control. Their reaction to challenging problems is that they usually panic because maybe I'm not smart anymore. And you can show over the years that they're looking to please authority figures rather than trying to know it for themselves, which is why they end up collapsing. They don't do very well. You don't do that. If you really want them to do well, Carol has some good news for you. And here it is. Good. They're called growth mindset behaviors. And there are households that do GMS, growth mindset behaviors. I'll give you the classic example. Little Johnny's got an A and comes in, and the growth mindset parent's going to go, little Johnny, you got an A. I'm so proud of you. You must have studied really hard. Oh, my gosh. Appealing to intellectual elbow grease, which is not amorphous at all. It's very concrete, very down to earth, very settled. And what happens over a 15, 20-year arc of parenting in the growth mindset, and by the way, it's been my experience that kids growing up in growth mindset households, the parents actually don't care about their grades. It's the dangest thing. They want their kids to try hard, and that's all that they're asking. They're not asking they're not merit badges, Matt. And in the other household, they really are because they're extensions of their self-worth for some reason. In a growth mindset household, that's not at all. So here's what happens if the kid gets a C in a growth mindset situation. He got an A because he studied really hard. I get a C because I didn't study really hard. And so you can see them wafting up the intellectual jets. I've seen some parents actually focus on, well, this is how you stay at a problem even when you want to give up. They themselves are tenacious and will not, they'll focus on it. And the kids respond to that. And they are smart. They get into Harvard, and if they get a C, they do not panic in the face of a challenging problem. In fact, some of them, Carol's got some great quotes where the kids she'll give them a math problem they can't get. And in a growth mindset household where other people might collapse, the kids are looking and go, yeah, oh man, I got some time on this one. And they just have a sense, there's almost a joy in this. The same way with this parent with a clock. There's a sense of, things are stable, it's all right. But these kids also go very deeply because they can be tenacious. They're focusing on a problem. When you get to Harvard, assuming a certain level of IQ, it's all about effort. You don't tell them they're smart. Darn it. You praise them for their effort.